Hey guys, it's your girl Vanessa. Welcome back to my channel and thank you guys all so much for tuning in again. I'm so excited to welcome you to today's reading about your life in 5 years time, and I'm also so excited to show you guys my new setup. So I know this is like the 5th setup ever since I started doing card readings, but I just want to get it right. And you guys, while I loved my last setup in my previous few videos, it was so uncomfortable because I was sitting on the floor and just sitting on the floor for like hours doing these readings. Like, it was not good, girl. Like, my back was aching, and now I finally managed to get a setup that looked the way I wanted to look, all whilst being comfortable. No, why is this little candle baby struggling so much? But yeah, you guys, enough of small talk. Let's get straight into the 4 groups. So we have group number 1, which is the Azurite. We have group number 2, which is the Tiger Eye. Group number 3, which is the Garnet, and group number 4, which is the Serpentine. So I would like you to pick one of the 4 groups intuitively, and if you're new to my channel, you may not know this, but if you feel drawn to 2 groups and you just kind of can't explain to yourself why, feel free to tune into 2 readings with the timestamps that are linked down below, because your personal reading may be a mixture between 2, so do not be shy to tune into 2 readings. And I know this is the point where I could urge you to subscribe to my channel, but I don't really want to do that, to be honest. I want you to tune into a reading, 2 readings, however many readings resonate with you. And you know, if you like my reading style, if you like what I do, if it gives you positive vibes and encouragement, I want you to subscribe then, because then it's actually going to make sense when my videos show up in your subscription feed. You know, otherwise we're just wasting each other's time, because you guys know that I like to have like a really close connection with you guys. So I just wanted to reiterate that, because I don't want to be that pushy person who's like, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. You know what I mean? So subscribe if you like the vibes and if you find it helpful, insightful, because that's what I'm here to do. You know, that's why I make these videos. That is what makes me want to create. When I see that I'm helping you guys, I'm giving you guys good advice as well as, you know, encouraging words. I said enough with the small talk. This is one of the longest intros ever. Let me know if you like these intros. You guys know that you can always just skip forward to the timestamps as they are linked down below in order to go straight to your readings. I want to get straight into the readings with group number 1, which is the Azurite. So let's figure out what's happening in your life 5 years from now. Okay, so group number 1, welcome to your reading about your life in 5 years time. So first off, I want to talk to you about why you may have chosen this gem, why you may have chosen the Azurite. So the Azurite is here for anybody who sort of needs materialistic detoxification, and this stone is especially for Leos. So if you are a Leo, know that this reading was made for you. So the Azurite is for all of us who sort of need to let go of materialistic beliefs. And I know, like, in this society, it's so easy to feel like you always need like the latest, greatest thing, but it's so important for you to really acknowledge when those material things don't give you that same buzz that they used to, and know that, you know, you're just growing as a person, you're just spiritually growing, and material things do not give you happiness. Like, your body is starting to notice that that is not the source of happiness, and it never will be a pure source of happiness, because happiness starts from within. So I definitely see you embarking on more of a spiritual path for the next 5 years of your life, and you're going to notice more and more how this shiny, sort of like-driven world is just all kind of like a fake facade. So continuing on into your reading, we have the Taurus as well as the Sun. So what do I see here? In the Taurus, I see sort of like abundance to nature. I see very rich, earthy, productive energy, yet somebody who isn't quick to decide on things, who thinks things through, who is slow, and who loves sort of physical closeness, if you know what I mean, emotional closeness. You know, cuddling is something that you're gonna love to do. Tauruses love to cuddle. I see very sort of warm energy. So I see that what will be very involved in 5 years from now is the fact that your immortal spirit, your purpose, your destiny, all of those things are going to be very involved in your life. They're going to be very important and relevant. But let's move further into your reading to get a more clear picture. So we have taking action, looking for signs in the near future, as well as yes. On a side note, don't you just love how much more space I have for readings? Let's get into it. So I definitely see that what you have to do in the near future is to take action in order to embark on this life path, on this 5-year plan from now. And I see that how you can do that is by saying yes a lot more. So saying yes is something that you may not be doing very often right now. You may be more inclined to say no or to decline. Maybe people ask you to try new things, or when you go to the grocery store, you look around and you're like, oh, let me just get the same old. But it's important for you to just try and take action, try different things out, and try to not become too complacent. Say yes to new experiences, say yes to new things. And I see that 5 years from now, you're going to be a lot more connected in the spiritual realms. You're going to be able to look for signs, and the signs are going to be like answers. So when you have questions, you're going to sort of be able to give it up to the universe and know that you will have signs thrown at you by the universe that will then give you the answer that you needed, that will lead you towards the right way, the right path that you've been asking the universe for. So I definitely see that your immortal spirit, your purpose, your destiny, all of that is going to be aligning very much in 5 years' time. And it's going to be sort of everything pushing into one direction, which is more spirituality, more taking action, more saying yes to things. So I definitely see you developing into somebody who is a lot more brave and secure with themselves. You're a lot more self-confident, and I see that you can already start working on this in the near future. You can already start making these changes in the near future, as there is nothing stopping you. And you always need to ask yourself, what is really stopping you from changing your life, from switching things up, from becoming the person you've always wanted to be, from making the money you've always wanted to make? What is really stopping you? It's so easy to blame things on exterior circumstances, but at the end of the day, you are often the one who is stopping you. So I want you to remember that the more you notice that material things are not fulfilling you, the more you will start to realize that you really need to focus on yourself internally in order to make yourself happy and in order to reach your goals and aspirations. So let us move further into your reading. So we have, you're on the right path, light and love, as well as writing. So 5 years from now, I definitely see that you're going to be on the right path, and you're potentially on the right path right now. I see that you have to keep doing what you're doing, as this is going to be working for you moving down the line. And in light and love, I see that you may be a light worker, but your purpose in life is definitely to serve people. It's definitely to bring people joy as well as to bring love into this world. So I definitely see that your purpose as a person is very much connected to what a light worker would be doing. And if you want a little bit more information, some signs on whether you're a light worker or not, I have a video on that on my channel. In case you're interested, feel free to tune into that. So moving on, 5 years from now, I see that you heal, inspire, teach, you entertain people with words, okay? And especially written words. So if writing is something that you're really into, I see that 5 years from now, your blog, your book, whatever it is that you're going to create with writing, that you're going to openly display to the world, is something that is going to inspire people. It's something that people are going to take strength out of, and they're going to feel entertained and like you taught them something. So do not give up on writing. So I definitely feel like if you've been going through this love-hate relationship with writing and all that writing means to you, I completely understand, okay? I had the same thing with YouTube. When you have this love-hate relationship where you want to create, where you want to move forward, but maybe you're in your own way, maybe you're stopping your own success, and not being able to always reach as big of an audience as you would like to when you feel like you've created something really cool. It's like a struggle that I'm familiar with, but what's important for you is to keep pushing, keep moving forward, and to know that you're on the right path. You need to keep doing what you're doing if it feels right, and if you know that it's something you're really talented in. So you'll know when you're doing the right thing, and the most important thing for you is to just stay sort of encouraged, empowered, and to push forward. And I see that 5 years from now, there will have really been a breakthrough when it comes to writing. And this is maybe something really unexpected. Maybe you're totally not like writing that much right now, but writing may also have to do with music. So lyrics that you have written are also something that can inspire and teach people. So maybe you're going to have a breakthrough in your music, but either way, words are going to have a big impact within the next 5 years of your life. So moving on, we have the turtle, the unicorn, the bee, as well as the dragons. What I instinctively see in the Taurus as well as the bee, so in the Taurus, we have a little bee symbol right here in the corner, and the bee showed up in your reading again. So what I think is very important for you to keep in mind is that all of this is going to take hard work, okay? There's no way around it. There's no way around getting to your dreams other than hard work, dedication, and it's not easy. You know, any really big dreams, any sort of aspirations that you have, if you just think about it, everybody who has gotten somewhere really far down in their career, anybody who has been able to be very successful, they never say that, oh, it was easy. Or at least I've never heard anyone say, oh, it was so easy. So remember that just pushing through, following through, even if you have to work night shifts, even if you feel like you're lacking sleep, etc., just know that you have to push really hard and you have to be dedicated and you have to work and you have to know what your purpose is and just keep pushing that, and know that as long as you feel like you're on the right path and you're spreading love and light, that is what you're meant to do now as well as 5 years from now. But moving on, 5 years from now, I see that you will have sort of changed a lot as a person. You will have noticed, sorry, this is the turtle, by the way. You will have noticed that winning the race slow and steadily is a lot better than rushing. And another thing that I think is very important for me to mention to you, just so that you have a better outlook on your life 5 years from now, is the fact that, you know, a turtle is able to be on land as well as in the water. So I want you to keep in mind that it is way more beneficial for you to be able to master different sort of territories, unknown territories, maybe territories that you're not perfect in, rather than just, you know, jumping onto one thing and rushing it. It's so much better to win the race slowly and steady and to explore lots of different areas of your life. But that is a mindset shift that you will make. That is something that you will learn more and more within these 5 years. So maybe you're somebody who has jumped to conclusions a little quicker than other people, or you just feel like you make up your mind really quickly and then you just want to push for something. But I see that you'll slow down as a person and you'll know that it's often better to be patient and to take your time with things. So in the unicorn, I see very much like magical energy that is unexplainable. So I definitely feel like in correlation with the sun, I see that having everything involved, every, you know, ounce of you spiritually and emotionally, sort of your purpose and your destiny, I feel like this is all going to amount to something that has a very magical feeling. I see 5 years from now, you sort of being in a place that you didn't expect. You know, I definitely see you being in a space that is almost surreal to you, because you feel like, oh my God, like 5 years ago, I never would have thought that I'd be here. So that is what I see in the unicorn for you, as well as just the fact that right now, you're leaving like this old life path behind and you're submerging into a new life path. In the dragonfly, I see that you're going to do a lot of traveling through your life, a lot of traveling through yourself as a person, who you are, and it's going to be maybe a very wild ride, well, probably a very wild ride, but I want you to just know that with hard work, dedication, as well as just, you know, remembering that happiness really comes from within. It's not really something that anything materialistic can sustain. I see that that is going to lead you to where you really need to be 5 years from now. And overall, I see that you are in fact on the right path, and what you need to do is to continue on spreading love and light. Focus on what you can do with your words, as well as just working really, really hard towards your goals, and you will eventually get there. You will reach it in 5 years' time. So group number 1, that is the reading that I received for you. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next reading. Okay, so group number 2, welcome to your reading about your life in 5 years' time. So you chose the Tiger Eye. So let me tell you a little something about the Tiger Eye, which may give us an idea of why you chose this stone. So the Tiger Eye is for everybody who is overthinking, who is mood swinging, Virgos and Geminis. I'm talking to you when I'm talking about the Tiger Eye. And just for anybody whose thoughts aren't always their friends, whose thoughts can sometimes have destructive traits, and who need to sort of get that mojo back, who need to sort of get back to a positive thought train and not be all roar, but also a little bit of purr, if you know what I mean. So moving into your reading, we have Saturn. How do you say it in English? Saturn, I think. So in Saturn as well as the Cancer, I can see that 5 years from now, family is something that is very important. I see you emotionally, being very present. I see sensitive, caring, loving energy. I'm a Cancerian myself, so I know how that can be to be overly emotional, and for family and the people closest to you to be sort of like the center of your world and the most important. So, there may be a sort of development when it comes to your family. Maybe there's going to be a new family member, maybe 2 new family members. Either way, sort of like this caring, loving energy is something that you're going to be surrounded with. So even if you're not a Cancer, I see that Cancer energy is something that is going to be prevalent 5 years from now in your life. And in Saturn, I can see that the part of you that accepts challenges in order to learn, in order to grow, in order to gain wisdom, is something that is activated, is something that is very important 5 years from now. So I definitely feel like maybe you're going to be a lot more outgoing and a lot more up for challenges and trying out new things. Either way, this means growth. Wisdom, gaining wisdom is always growth, is always gaining life experience. So I definitely see that 5 years from now, you're going to be a lot more open to challenges. You're going to be a lot more playful with it, as well as just adventurous. So I definitely see that gaining wisdom is something that is happening 5 years from now. I definitely see that is something that you're focusing on, and any sort of setbacks you're going to realize are really lessons and are really wisdom, instead of horrible setbacks that are just here as obstacles to stand in your way. You'll see them as lessons, as something positive, as an opportunity to learn and not make the same mistakes again. But let's move further into your reading. So abundance is something that is going to be in your life, and that is always beautiful to show up in your reading, because abundance is just something that makes life so much easier and just sort of indicates that you're going to be on a good track, on a positive track, as you're only able to invite abundance in if you're in touch with the universe and in touch with your spiritual self. So moving further, I see that it's up to you. So I feel like right now, you're at a crossroads, and I feel like it is so important for you to know that how your life goes between now and the next 5 years is completely up to you. And it's so important for me to reiterate this to you, because sometimes it can be really easy to blame exterior circumstances and things that you have no control of, but it's up to you, and you have to remember that, and you have to relentlessly remind yourself each day that complaining about things in your life not being exactly the way you want them to be, or not having reached a goal yet, it's completely up to you how you react to those situations, and whether you see it as sort of a incentive to work harder, or whether you let it get you down. And at the end of the day, in this day and age, you have to make use of all the resources that you have. If it's the internet, if it's support that you can get from your friends, you have to make the most of the resources that are out there, because there are so many resources. There is an abundance of resources out here, okay? The abundance is in resources, not only just in things in your life, and you have to make the most of it. You have to make sure that you use those to your advantage, as getting ahead of the game is all about using the resources available to you and growing and making the best of those. So keep that in mind. Then letting go as well as compromising. So it's funny that these showed up in the same picking. So I definitely see that maybe you sort of have this urge right now to be right. Maybe you have this urge when you argue with somebody to sort of get your point across and to get them to understand. And maybe that's not always because you want to be right. It could also just be because you just want them to understand. And that is one thing with being a Cancer or just having Cancer energy. You may sort of tend 5 years from now to sometimes feel a little bit misunderstood, or sometimes feel a little bit like, you know, you're overly emotional and you don't know how to handle it or explain it to anybody. But don't worry about that yet, okay? Don't stress about it. All I want you to know is that learning the art of letting go and not letting things affect your life so much is an important life skill that if you acquire this now, I see that that will help you 5 years from now in just sort of being more at peace with things and just being more chill and being able to compromise. Because at the end of the day, being hard-headed, being stubborn, it often does more damage than good, and compromising usually pushes things forward in a more easier way with a lot less friction, which then in the end leads to abundance, as well as, you know, the part of you that accepts challenges and is able to try new things and be open to new ventures. That also just aids in you being able to fully delve into all of the potential, all of the opportunities that you have available to you. So then we have leadership, oracle cards, as well as a career change. So I'm sure you're very much interested in your career change, which is definitely something that will be happening between now and 5 years time. I definitely see that you're embarking upon a career that brings you the joy and abundance that you've always dreamt of, and the joy and abundance that you've always wanted. So maybe your career right now is not 100% fulfilling, or something needs to change in your career in order for you to be able to feel really accomplished, happy, joyful, and like you're living your best life. So know that you have to take charge. That is something that is very important to you, and there's a reason why you tuned into this reading, and there's a reason why this has showed up 2 times in your reading, the fact that you have to take charge. So I definitely see that everything is up to you. You have to take charge, and you have to be the leader in this situation. You cannot just always say, I'll let life just drift to wherever. When it comes to success, when it comes to abundance, when it comes to making things happen, you need to put intention behind it, and you need to put work behind it, and drive and force. So remember that, and know that at the end of the day, I can see that 5 years from now, how your life turns out is completely up to you, and you have to start today to be accountable for the fact that however your life turns out, it's been up to you, and it's been completely in your hands. Life is 90% of how you react to things and 10% of what happens to you. So remember that, and remember that how you react to things can change your life. Your life is just one decision away from being completely different. In oracle cards, I can see that oracle cards, tarot readings, that is something that is going to guide you for these next 5 years. It's something that is going to be a part of your life, and I see that you're going to take a lot of guidance from these readings. You're going to take a lot of sort of uplifting energy, as well as you're going to have something positive, that keeps pushing you by focusing on tarot, spirituality, oracle cards, and taking direction from it, taking guidance and letting it lead your life in the direction that it is meant to go. So maybe oracle cards, tarot cards is something that you are really into personally anyway. So I would definitely recommend for you to get a deck or 2, try it out yourself, see what sort of energy you can channel. And, obviously, tune into tarot readings. There's so many tarot readers on YouTube these days, including myself. Tune into more readings. Whoever makes you feel sort of like you got a plan and you're uplifted and you know what you're doing next, tune into that person's channel in order to continue getting, good vibes and that push forward. So moving further into your reading, we have the bear, the whale, the dolphin, as well as the spider. So what I think is so interesting is that you have 3 mammals here, and they're very, very large animals. So I definitely see personal growth, okay? And in dolphin, I see sort of like energy that is like, don't worry, be happy sort of energy. I definitely see you being very witty, smart, intelligent, fun, all of those things being amplified 5 years from now. I see that 5 years from now, you're going to learn that it's better to just sort of like get along and compromise instead of getting your point across, being right, etc., as I already mentioned. And also I definitely see that, you know, family is something that is very important for you. Family is something that you're keeping close, and that maybe there is going to be a new family member in your life. Maybe you're going to have a baby. Either way, I definitely see in the bear very protective energy as well as grounded energy that is not in the need to be really quick to judge or quick to do things. And in the whale, I see travel, you know, you sort of exploring different parts of this world. So maybe traveling is something that you want to do more of, that you've always wanted to do more of. And I see that 5 years from now, you will have seen a lot more places in the world, a lot more places that maybe you've always wanted to go to. And I definitely see that this may be a solo adventure or an adventure that you do with somebody who you have a very close relationship with. So this could obviously be a friend or somebody who you have a romantic interest in. Either way, you have to sort of channel these things. You have to channel who you end up spending a lot of time with. So if you're really into, you know, finding the right one for you, I see that you have to create sort of like this web in order to attract who you want, if you know what I mean. Just like a spider, well, obviously you're not trying to eat the person, but just like a spider, you know, spins its web in order to catch the prey that it needs to survive and to thrive, it spins this web. And, you know, it takes time to create the web, but at the end, you know, the spider is satisfied. The spider has what it needs in order to thrive and survive, and it knows that it has the tools in order to create that web. And I want you to take that from the spider. I want you to know that you have the tools within you to create the web that is you, that is your life, that fulfills you, that makes you happy, and that nourishes you and gives you what you need emotionally as well as physically. So know that yes, it'll take work and it'll take you taking charge of how you create your web, but at the same time you have the tools at your disposal. There's nothing stopping you. It's completely up to you. So that is the main message that I get for you, group number 2, Tiger Eye, in your reading. The fact that it is completely up to you where your life ends up 5 years from now. Obviously, this scenario is meant to inspire you as to what your life can potentially come to, but obviously it can be even greater and more. But at the end of the day, it's completely up to you. You need to take leadership of your life. You need to know that you have to push forward in whichever direction you would like to go. Abundance, happiness, fulfillment, money, all those things are going to follow as long as you continue on the path that you've decided to embark on. So group number 2, that is the reading that I received for you. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next reading. All right, group number 3, welcome to your reading. You chose the Garnet. So to start off, I would just like to speak to you about the Garnet. So you may have chosen the Garnet because you need more depth in your life, or because, you know, 5 years from now you will have gained a substantial amount of depth. So who is the Garnet for? The Garnet is for writers who aren't writing, singers who aren't singing, and sexual beings who aren't sexing, if you know what I mean. I definitely want you to think to yourself, you know, am I really doing what I wanted to do? Am I really giving my life depth? And am I really fulfilling, you know, those cravings that I have emotionally, those things that I've always wanted to do on a creative level? So let's move further into your reading. We have the Scorpio as well as the Gemini. So you may not be a Scorpio or a Gemini, but this is the energy that you're channeling 5 years from now. So 5 years from now, I see very sort of intense energy, very thoughtful, also magnetically charming, okay? But there may be a tendency to be sort of like territorial, if you know what I mean. So maybe this will have to do with a relationship in your life, a romantic relationship that makes you sort of be like, you know what, I'm claiming you, you are mine. So maybe you're going to be married, maybe you're going to be in a very committed relationship. You're my everything, I'm your everything, and that's just how it is. And in the Gemini, I see very communicative energy, very lively, witty, as well as sort of not being sure, you know, what side you're gonna get. So I definitely see sort of like a split personality. I see that you're going to have two sides to you, and people are never really sure which side they're going to encounter, so you're going to be full of surprises and sort of, witty, fun to be around, as I already mentioned, as people are always sort of fascinated at what angle you're going to see things from. So moving more into your reading, I see that communicating clearly, listening to your intuition, recovery, as well as asking your angels. These are all of importance 5 years from now. I definitely see that listening to your intuition, this is already something that you should be doing now, but 5 years from now, I feel like this is a muscle that you will have trained to become a lot stronger than it is now. Listening to your intuition is something that we all need to practice. Your intuition is like a muscle. If you don't practice it, it's not going to be strong. It's not really going to be trained to do anything. So make sure that you already practice listening to your intuition, and that you're already sort of aware that your intuition is always the best guide when it comes to making decisions in life. And I definitely see that 5 years from now, recovery is something that you may have completed. Recovery is definitely something that is going to be of importance. So, it may not necessarily have to do with substance abuse. Obviously, if that is something that you struggle with, then 5 years from now, there is definitely recovery in sight, or recovery that you may have achieved. But otherwise, recovery can be just from any toxic situation. So it may have been recovery from a toxic relationship, from sort of the relationship that you have with yourself. Maybe you finally recovered from any sort of self-limiting beliefs, and you're ready to move on with a very fresh outlook and a fresh start. So I see a lot of work that's going to have to be done on yourself personally, because maybe you've noticed that, substance abuse, recovering from a toxic relationship, recovering the relationship you have with yourself. These are all things that start with you, with yourself within emotionally, and there's nothing you can change about that. There is nobody who can come in and just fix you. So recovery always entails a lot of work on yourself, a lot of dedication to recovering. So I definitely want you to know that there's a lot of work ahead for you for 5 years from now. There's a lot that is going to change and need to be done, but at the end of the day, it's all for a good cause. It's all for a healing process for you, sort of recuperating back to a more healthy state. And I definitely feel like asking your angels, as well as communicating clearly, is something that goes together very well. So I feel like your communication with the universe is going to be a lot clearer, okay? You're going to know that the more clear energy you put out, the more clear results you're going to receive. So if you're, for instance, putting the energy out there that you really want a life partner, or you really want a job that earns you more money, the more you communicate very clearly that you're ready for these things and that you're here to receive it with open arms, even if it's not exactly what you always pictured, just being open enough and communicating that this is what you would like. I definitely see that you will be able to ask, believe, and receive. Asking your angels, the universe, whatever it is that you believe in, as soon as you communicate clearly and you're very open to anything that comes your way without being discriminatory, I see that that is something that is going to elevate your life very much 5 years from now. So moving on, 5 years from now, I see that your ability to build, create, etc. is going to bring you a lot of accomplishments. So in the builder, I see that you will have built something from the foundation up, from the ground up. So, obviously it can be something like building a new human being from the ground up. That's all that it is when you have a child. Building is something that's happening, and like I said, it can have to do with a human being. But, in the builder, I definitely see that this may have to do with your career. So building a business, building a new venture, building something that is sustainable and that is here to bring you joy for years to come. So I see you sort of looking at this new thing that you created 5 years from now, and you're going to be very proud of it. It's going to be something that shows you like, yes, I can build things from the ground up, I can lay a solid foundation, and I can make things happen. And in time to decide, I see that Decisions are going to be made depending on your heart's true desires. So maybe you will have quit like your 9 to 5 years from now, and you will have built a business that can sustain you, and you just make decisions based on your heart's desires, based on what feels right, and based on what, you know, makes you feel the happiest. So that is definitely a possibility for 5 years from now, as well as energy healing. So I definitely see that your ability to heal and recover people is going to be of importance 5 years from now. It's something that is part of your life purpose. So whatever it is that you're going to be doing 5 years from now, I see that it's going to be something that helps people. So maybe you will be providing jobs, you will be providing some sort of assistance or service that is helpful to humanity and that helps people, you know, energetically, just like emotionally. So I definitely see very caring, giving energy. Then we have the fire ant, the butterfly, the frog, as well as the earthworm. So in the earthworm, I see that whatever job it is that you have 5 years from now, it's a very important job. It's a very essential job to the community, the environment, so to say. You know, the earthworm is a creature that we often forget about, but is very essential to our ecosystem. And I see you sort of taking that role 5 years from now. But the earthworm also has the tendency to be a bit shy and to sort of, you know, be a little bit too timid. So I want you to look out to not become too shy and timid. As I see in the frog, very sensitive energy, and in correlation with the Gemini, make sure that you don't end up having, you know, one very outgoing and strong side and one side that is just too brittle and sensitive, as well as too introverted, because it's important to find, you know, a good balance. In the Gemini, when I say that you may have two sides, I don't mean two complete polar opposites, but maybe you have a very creative side and then you have a very sort of hardworking, disciplined, focused side. That is what I'm speaking about. And in the fire ant, I definitely see that collaborating with people is what you will be doing 5 years from now. So as I said, maybe you will have built a business, something that gets you to work with a lot of other people, maybe even create jobs, as I see that you're going to have an essential role in society, in your community, where you're helping people, where things would not work as smoothly without you, as already mentioned in the earthworm. And you know, in the butterfly, I just see that this is something that is going to be a big transformation, and you're sort of going to go from a little caterpillar to a beautiful butterfly that learns how to fly. So group number 3 in your reading, I see a lot of growth. I see you turning any sort of thoughts that aren't your friend. I see you switching that into actually communicating what you need to the universe and believing, as well as, you know, just being able to turn your life around and be of service to the world, to recover on a personal level, and then to know that the strength that you have and these qualities inside of you can be very helpful to other people and are going to be very essential to your life purpose. So group number 3, that is the reading that I received for you. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, group number 4. Welcome to your reading about your life 5 years from now. So you chose the Serpentine. So before we get into your reading, I want to talk to you about why you may have chosen the Serpentine. So the Serpentine is for anybody who needs to sort of exfoliate old beliefs, if you know what I mean, you know, channeling that reptilian energy, if you will. So just like a snake sheds its old skin, I want you to sort of see this as something that you will be doing between now and the next 5 years. You will shed old skin. You need to exfoliate and sort of have this new, fresh, rejuvenated baby skin, if you know what I mean. Let's move further into your reading to figure out exactly what will have changed. So we have Mercury as well as the 12th house. The area of your life that is overwhelming, I see that you're going to be able to just sort of give up any sort of fear, anything that sort of makes you have that heavy feeling like, my job or my relationship with my mother, my siblings, that is just overwhelming me. I see that as soon as you let go of trying to control it, I see that this is going to open up and bring a lot of light into your life, bring a lot of greater power that you didn't know existed in these things that are overwhelming to you right now. So I see that you'll be able to flip the switch and turn this around in 5 years' time, and like the greatest difficulties now are going to be things that are your greatest strengths and your greatest lessons. And in Mercury, I can see that the way you think, communicate, just the way you do things, I see that there's going to be a fundamental change there. There's going to be sort of you fundamentally rethinking, how do I communicate? How do I talk? How do I write? How do I walk? I definitely see a lot coming in that aspect of your life for you. So in romance, I see that that is what may change how you communicate, how you talk, how you travel. You may go from being single to all of a sudden having to think of yourself, potentially a partner with a family, with kids, etc. And things are just going to change from being more focused on you to more focused on things as a whole. So even if you are in a relationship, you may still have these tendencies to see yourself as a separate item, and I definitely see things sort of merging in this more of like group mentality that is forming in you, where you feel like yes, you are an individual, but at the same time you have a responsibility to your community and to the people around you. And in the situation will improve, opportunity, as well as reconsidering. I definitely see, obviously, improvement. I definitely see, compared to 5 years, there's not really going to be any comparing. Things are going to be a lot different, a lot better, and this all has to do with the fact that there will be a lot of opportunities in your life. So 5 years from now, I see that opportunities are going to be here in abundance. They're going to be here without you even knowing where to start, okay? So if you feel like there aren't that many opportunities in your life right now, I don't want you to panic, because that is something that is coming, that is something that is drifting your way. And it's undeniable that that will improve your situation, whatever the situation is right now. So in romance, I definitely see that love is something that is going to be so important 5 years from now. It is something that is going to fill your heart with joy, happiness, and romance is going to be fulfilling you, So even if you are in a relationship now, things might change, and it's always good to reconsider. Am I really happy? Is this really what I want for myself? And just keep sort of refreshing, because it doesn't mean that you have to break up or move on to somebody else, but romance is something that you always need to work on, whether it's a fresh relationship or, especially if it's a relationship that you've been in for a while. Working on your love life constantly is something that you cannot avoid. However, of course, if you wish to just stay by yourself, then that is a completely different story. Then in protected, as well as books and crystals, I see that you're going to be very safe, sort of. You have angels protecting you, the universe protecting you. So I definitely feel like maybe there are things that you do in silence that other people don't know. And these are things that are sort of like good Samaritan things. So for instance, helping somebody without telling them or without making it noticeable. Donating without ever, saying a word. I definitely see that all of the good vibes, all of the good little intentions that you put out there will give you this protective shield 5 years from now, where any change of career that you wish to embark on will flow easily. You'll be protected, and you won't be so fearful to make any changes, because you will feel 5 years from now like you're protected. And I see that your life purpose and what you get involved in is going to be very much shaped by books. So in books, I definitely see that 5 years from now, you're going to be a lot more into literature. Maybe you will even be considering writing your own book, or you will have written your own book, and you will derive a lot of joy, a lot of learning a lot of new knowledge from books, from literature. So I definitely want you to know that you will be able to connect with your life purpose through books. So if you feel like your life purpose is to help other people, or to be famous, or to be a great business person, there are books on all of those things, and you will be able to connect the dots through reading, as well as focusing, whatever it is that you read on your life purpose. So don't separate what you read from what you feel is your purpose or what you've always been meant to do. So merge those things together. So moving on, we have crystals. So I see that crystals are something that you may acquire a lot more of 5 years from now. Either way, I see that crystal energy is something that is going to channel healing, as well as very clean and considerate vibe. So look into crystals. If you have crystals, make sure that you cleanse them, make sure that you take care of them, you polish them, you clean them, you put them up, and you benefit from the good energy that crystals entail. If you do not have crystals yet, know that 5 years from now, they are going to be in your life, regardless of whether you feel like it's actually going to happen or not. I definitely see that your connection to gemstones and sort of, precious metals, sort of precious minerals, I definitely see that that is going to be here in one way or another. The lion, the elephant, the fish, as well as the rabbit. So what I instinctively would like to tell you is, in the rabbit, I see very fertile energy. I see energy that is sort of like avoiding any confrontation, and like I said, at the same time, very fertile. So maybe you have a wish to start a family, or maybe it might just happen on accident that you do end up starting a family. There might just be, a lot more children in your family or your surroundings. So I definitely see in the rabbit, a fertile time, a pretty time, a beautiful time. The rabbit is a very pretty cute animal, you know what I mean? I see a very sort of cute time. I definitely feel like maybe you will level up personally, where you're not only starting a family, but you're also, taking care of yourself and taking care of your appearance. And in the fish, I see 5 years from now, going with the flow is something that you will have done. The fish is an animal that follows the flow, as well as the intuition, that is very in tune with its surroundings. And I see the same for you. I see that 5 years from now, you're going to be in your element that lets you be who you are, and you're going to be in a situation where, people cannot tell you that you're out of place. It's very evident that you are in the right situation for yourself. So be that, being in a family, or just sort of changing your career, your job, your relationship, either way, it's going to be very clear that you are where you belong. So don't worry about not belonging 5 years from now, or where things may go, if you're sort of worried about that. And in the lion, I see a lot of bravery. So it may have taken a lot of bravery to get to this point, or 5 years from now, you will need a lot of courage. So in the lion, I definitely feel like that may have to do with the fact that there may be sort of an add-on to your family, that there may be something happening in the romance department, in the family department, that just needs you to step up and be the brave one, be the courageous one, be the one that's looking out for other people. So you may be a mother, you may be an aunt, you may just be somebody who has that protective role in someone else's life. So know that that is a big sort of purpose to have. Know that that is a big responsibility, but it's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing that you can't handle. As I can see in the elephant, that standing your ground is second nature 5 years from now. You're going to remember all of the good things, really all of the good things, and you're not going to focus on anything negative, and family is going to be at the center of things, as well as just building your life and building healthy routines. As you will notice that, living the life that you're living now may work right now, but 5 years from now, you will have to, move forward and go with the times and adjust to who you've become. Group number 4, that is the reading that I received for you. I hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful, and I will see you in my next video.